what I did is, it's very difficult to go through the whole thing and just read it. But I'm going to explain it in terms of themes, thematically, with themes. And then you can understand it. And we may not be able to finish it because there's a lot of themes, but we will go as much as we can, because we also have to vacate the place at a certain time.
By 8 o'clock latest, probably. 8 o'clock latest.
Okay. So then, this chapter 24 about the Govardhan Lila, there are many themes. I'm going to be going very systematically with it. So just follow carefully. So here Krishna, he establishes pure devotional service. What is pure devotional service? So if you're coming from, there's different backgrounds that we come from, there are many rituals and sacrifices we do. Isn't it? So Krishna wanted to stop this ritualistic sacrifices and worships of the devatas. So a pure devotee of Krishna, he automatically fulfills all the Vedic injunctions and obligations. So if one is engaged in pure devotional service, when you're pure, then there's nothing more for you to do. Because Krishna, devotional service to Krishna alone includes the results of all other forms of worship. So worship to the devatas, there's different rituals. They're not required. They cannot develop pure devotion to Krishna. Because if you have attraction to another devata, then you don't exclusively love Krishna. Then you can't go back to Vrindavan. So Krishna is establishing, by this pastime, he's establishing this bhakti, this devotion of Vrindavan. Got it? Just like you may have attraction for Shiva. Just recently we were reading the Srimad Bhagavatam on the 4th canto, chapter 24, text number 28, where Lord Shiva is speaking. And the conclusion is that a devotee of Lord Shiva is not dear to Lord Shiva. But a devotee of Lord Krishna is very dear to Lord Shiva. You get it? It's very interesting the way Prabhupada put it, the end of that purport on the 4th canto, chapter 24, text 28. So this is the first theme that we must understand. What is pure devotional service? So this Govardhan Lila, this is what it teaches so many lessons. So then, Krishna, the next theme that we're going to discuss is Krishna's inquiry and Nanda Maharaj's explanation. Now Krishna is a young boy, Nanda Maharaj is the father. So Krishna very politely asked his father, what's the purpose of this result and sacrifice? Because they was going to worship Indra. And he told his father that among saintly persons, there's no secrets. There must be openness and transparency. It's a very important factor. See, like I must be open to you and I must be transparent. I can't say, hey, talk bad about you, talk nicely and then have another version of you later on. That's not what sadhus do. So Nanda Maharaj explained to Krishna that Indra Yagya, they were doing it as a traditional ceremony, meaning sacrifice, to please Indra. So if you please Indra, he's the rain giver, he'll give you rain. You see, previously, where Macro is, the farming was very good there. And across the river on the other side was Newland, and the farming was very good there also. But they used to do this Indra Puja. All the farmers get together and they'll perform puja for rain. So then, but you know, Lord Krishna being the intelligent person, you know, later questions more, you know, which we'll discuss later. So Nanda Maharaj was saying, you know, it's out of gratitude that we do this, because he's giving rain. So we have, you know, we can't give up our tradition, because we fear it, right? We think it's improper. Some things our grandparents did, we have to do it. So this pastime is teaching that. So we'll go to the third. In the book, it's just in the story form, but we broke it up to in themes so that you can understand it. So you got the understanding so far? Then the third one is Krishna's intention to curb Indra's pride, because Indra is the king of heaven and he's very proud. So Krishna spoke very deliberately, you know, and he provoked Indra's anger. Like sometimes you speak a little bit harshly to get the other person riled up, but to teach him a lesson. Because Indra is actually a devotee of Krishna, but he became puffed up because he thought he had a lot of power and he forgot Krishna's supremacy. Krishna is supreme. So he forgot that. And Krishna's purpose was to establish that all the devatas act under his sanction. Devatas mean, in the way Prabhupada translates it as demigods. But sometimes it's not appreciated by people, so I say devatas. That's the actual word. And then the Lord descended, you know, Krishna descended to protect and subdue this pride of everybody, but including like the king of heaven, Indra. So now Krishna, he begins to speak a philosophy called Karma Mimamsa. It's a philosophy. And outwardly, Krishna spoke like an atheistic Karma Mimamsa philosophy to challenge Indra's worship. And this philosophy is that you work very hard. And if you work very hard, you get good results. So if you work hard and get good results, then God is not necessary. You get it? So Krishna presented this to stop blind faith in the devatas and ritualism. He's presenting this philosophy. And then he emphasized, it's your karma. You know, you're going to get what you deserve. And then he's talking about one's natural duties over just external worship. So here Krishna speaks like the Karma Mimamsa philosopher. Atheistically, you know. There's no God, you don't need God. So then, it turns on to the next, the role of the divine sanction. So now there's an argument between Krishna and the Father. So Nanda Maharaj and all the elders argued that without the divine favor, material efforts fail. If Krishna is not sanctioning it, it's not going to happen. Sometimes we try very hard and it's not coming right. But Krishna is not sanctioning it. And Prabhupada gives an example, just like patients are dying despite we having good doctors. Isn't it? They die. Children perishing despite care. So thus, results depend ultimately on the will of the Supreme. So Krishna now, however, he counted that the demigod only rewards those who perform their duties. So devatas, they reward people. If you pray to them you want rain, then you'll get rain. If you pray you want some wealth, then you'll get wealth. But they are not independent. They are not independent. Somebody has to sanction it. So then the argument is that you should focus on your prescribed duties. And and not on the devatas or the demigod. So then Krishna defined the duties of the social orders. He goes down very systematically. You can see how nicely it's explained. But we had to put all the facts together. So Krishna declared that the happiness depends on proper performance of one's occupational duties. Just like if you do all your duties properly, then there's happiness. But then he compared one who neglects his duty to be an unchaste wife. He gives a very good analogy. So your duty you must do. So then he goes on to describe the duties of the Brahmanas. The Brahmanas, what is their duty? To study the scriptures, to give knowledge. What is the duties of the Kshatriyas? To protect the citizen. What is the duties of the Vaishyas? Agriculture, trade, cow, protection and banking. Now Vaishya is the mercantile class and Krishna falls in this class. He's a Vaishya. So like Sudras, like the workers, general workers, they help all these people. So Krishna, he identifies himself as a Vaishya. So what does Vaishyas do? Well, I told you, they do cow protection. That is their primary duty. Because of the cow you can live. You know that? There's so many things from a cow. You get cheese, milk, butter, and all its urine can be used for medicinal purposes. There's so many, we've got like over 30, 40 products made from cow urine, eye drops, ear drops, all kind of things. So the primary function of a Vaishya, like Krishna, is to look after the cows. Then we move on to the next thing where Krishna rejects Indra's worship, and then now he's saying, just leave out Krishna, and he advocates the worship of Govardhan Hill. Krishna explained that the modes of nature, the three modes of nature, govern all creation and destruction. And rain is a result of passion, Rajagun. And it's not directly under Indra's control. So Indra pours the rain even in the ocean. Do the ocean need rain? No. So then it is not dependent on human worship, the rain. So you see how Krishna is attacking or trying to defeat the philosophy. He's a young boy. So the real relationship of the Vrindavan or the Vrajvasis is with Vrindavan or Govardhan Hill, not with Indra. You get it? It's not with Indra. And then Krishna requested a sacrifice, a new sacrifice, to please Govardhan Hill. That's what he suggested. Now, then the arrangement for the Govardhan Puja starts. So Krishna, all the paraphernalia, all what they had to do, the Indra Yajna, like the sacrifice, must be used for Govardhan Puja. And then the cowherd men are finding out, but how do we do it? What are the direction? So Krishna gives it. He says, prepare all kinds of rice, dal, halwa, puri, sweets, rasgulla, laddu, all these different things. Sweets and then invite learned brahmanas to chant Vedic hymns and offer oblations. Like how we do swaha, like that. And feed the cows sumptuously and decorate them and make them look very beautiful. And you distribute charity to the brahmanas. And then you feed the chandalas, the dogs, everybody with prasadam. Then you can circumambulate Govardhan Hill with the cows leading. The cows are in the front and you go behind the cows and you walk 23 kilometers around Govardhan Hill. It takes them like 6-7 hours sometimes. Earlier it will take us a little less time, but as you get older it takes more time. to walk around Govardhan Hill with the cows leading. So this is how Krishna describes it. It's quite interesting, eh? Then Krishna describes the Vaishya community, means the cowherd community. And economy and social harmony, how they live so harmoniously. See, the Vaishya community, their prosperity depends on agriculture, trade, cow protection and finance. 4 things. And then also there must be cooperation amongst all beings like Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Sudras, animals, and even hills is vital. So cow protection is especially more important than protection of cats and dogs. So remember that cow protection is more important. Cats and dogs are not important to protect. You all got cats and dogs? So that cats and dogs, cows, you can survive with. Cow is the mother. Gomata. And Krishna says that even chandalas are like people who work in a crematorium, they are chandalas and untouchables. Must be cared for in a Krishna conscious society. See, when Krishna consciousness is like central, then everybody benefits both materially and spiritually. So now we're moving on to the next theme. So the Govardhan Puja and its eternal significance. So Lord Chaitanya, he established that Krishna and his land, Vrindavan and Govardhan, are equally worshipable. So worship of Govardhan Hill, like people up till now will offer so much of foodstuffs to Govardhan, Anukut festival. And it continues annually in ISKCON and in Vrindavan by many residents. They offer large quantities of prasadam. And then they just distribute it to the people. Everywhere you go around, somebody is distributing some meals. It's very wonderful. And prasadam, it never becomes impure, even if it's fallen on the ground. It's Krishna's mercy. When we were young, when anything dropped down, we should quickly pick it up and eat it. So we respect prasadam. Then we rounding up with the 24th chapter of the Krishna book, where Krishna reveals himself as Govardhan Hill. After offering Krishna, then he manifested a huge form as Govardhan Hill. He became like in a huge form, and then he declared himself non-different from Govardhan. And he began accepting all the offerings. So devotees worship Govardhan. They take a stone from the hill and they worship him because that's Krishna himself. So when they do this worship, it's just like worshipping the Murti in the temple, the deity in the temple. So then Krishna and the residents, then they bowed to his form, and Krishna, he warned them that neglecting the worship of Govardhan brings some misfortune. And that misfortune is that you'll be bitten by snakes. That's what Prabhupada writes. So all residents, followed Krishna's instruction, and then they returned home blessed and satisfied. But then, the 25th chapter, big problem, because now Indra is upset. If somebody is in power, you provoke them a little bit and you make them feel a little bit small. What they do? They get very upset. Isn't it? You have this in your own life. If some big man, you tell him something that he's not doing wrong, he'll get very upset. So Indra was upset. So now we're going to go to that devastating rainfall in Vrindavan. And Indra's anger and false pride is the first theme. He became furious because he learned now that the cowherd men had stopped the sacrifice, listening to this small boy, Krishna. So Indra chose to attack them out of pride. What did he do? What did he do? Rainfall. So he was acting very demonically, Indra. So now you see himself as a supreme controller and thinking that he could challenge Krishna. And he viewed Krishna as an ordinary human being. There in the Gita it's mentioned in the chapter 9, text 11. Avajananti Mamudha. Fools deride me when I descend in this human form. So, it's here, I'll just read it. Yeah, where is that? Chapter 9. And you must read, there's a very interesting purport that Prabhupada writes there, and it's a long purport. It says, Avajananti Mamhuda Manusyamtanam Asritam Parabhava Ajananto Mambhuta Maheshwaram. Fools deride me when I descend this human form. They do not know my transcendental nature as the Supreme Lord of all that be. So people don't know that Krishna is the Supreme, and Indra is one of them. He's covered now because of anger. And he viewed Krishna as an ordinary person. And he accused the villagers, of their arrogance because now, for defying all these devatas. So you can see how, people, when they become proud, it's like a sort of intoxication. And when they're intoxicated, an intoxicated person doesn't remember very many things. And if he does remember things, it's like a little bit mixed up. So this is a situation. Not that he took intoxication like some, beverage or something, no. But material position, getting angry. So then, Krishna his teachings on demigod worship or devatas. So Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, he declares, now I'm not saying it, but Krishna says it, that those people who worship the devatas, they are not intelligent. They are unintelligent. So from this pastime, you must learn that. So we can learn that Indra, this Lila between Krishna and Indra shows that there's no need to worship the devatas. Even if they appear angry, you don't have to worship them. But you must have complete dependence on Krishna's mercy. And when you have that deep dependence on Krishna's mercy, he gives you full protection. Full protection. And no other shelter is needed. And through this incident, then Krishna demonstrates his exclusive position as the Supreme Protector. You get it? So you can see how this Lila is very systematic and very beautiful. So now, Indra's condemnation of Vrindavan, this is the next theme. So now Indra, he gets mad. He starts cursing the cowherd men, claiming that, why did you neglect worshipping? And they would, if sometimes if people treat you badly, you'll say, oh, don't worry, that fellow will suffer. You get it? We all said at some point to that. You can see how he's suffering. See what he told me. Like that. So the same thing Indra is saying. They will suffer materially. And then he blamed Krishna, calling him a talkative child. And he's misleading the villagers. Sometimes people say, hey, don't listen to him. And he's like, what are you listening to him? He's just a small boy. He doesn't know anything. But no. Krishna is a supreme person. We must listen to him. And Indra, then he accused the residents of being puffed up. Now he is puffed up, so he is telling, no, but you all these residents, they puffed up. And then, and they were overconfident. They had too much of confidence in Krishna. So then, this is like envy. So because he was so envious, he called for the Samvartaka cloud to destroy Vrindavan and punish its people and the cows. So this is what Indra did. So then we move on to the next one, the fourth one, on this chapter, the 25th chapter. The importance of cows and village prosperity. So cows are very important. Up when you go to Nandagram, there was a man living, he's late now, he passed away. And I remember we going there with Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj. We'd always go to this man's house. And this was his house. In the front was the cow. The cow is staying in the front. And he's staying in the back. So they look after the cow in the front. It's amazing. And they milk the cows and they make so many preparations. And I remember drinking like buttermilk and all from there with Maharaj. Yeah. And he's late now, but his son is there. Yeah. So this is the importance of cows. Because the village life, it depends on the welfare of cows. So if you go to Goloka Vrindavan, there are cows there. You have to be a cowherd boy. You have to be a cowherd girl. Get it? So if you destroy the cows, then what it'll mean? Loss of prosperity and opulence. The village people can't live because they live by the cows. And the attack on Vrindavan symbolizes a direct assault on Dharma, simplicity and spiritual economy. Because these are simple people. So then, the next theme, the Samvartaka clouds unleashed. And Indra had unleashed the clouds. These clouds are generally used for cosmic devastation. So the clouds, they were also fearful to carry out such a destruction. But Indra, he assured them he would join. Because he was riding on the elephant, the Airavata. And the clouds gathered over Vrindavan, releasing torrential rain, lightning, thunder, fierce winds. And it was pouring like torrents of rain. I don't know if you've not been in India in the rainy season. It's something else. It's like buckets of rain. Just buckets of rain when it just falls. Lightning, fierce wind. And the rain poured down like sharp arrows, submerging into the land. So it affected the animals, and there was cold, there was fear. So now they are in this situation. So what they're going to do? What's our next thing? The devotees now are seeking the shelter of Krishna. So the inhabitants, they were unable to bear this flood, and they turned for Krishna for his protection. The cows, like heavy rain, and it's not very good because they bow their heads down and they're sheltering the calves, they were beneath them. And together they're praying, "Dear Krishna, you are all powerful and very affectionate. Please protect us from angry Indra." Then this reveals, this is how a devotee is supposed to be. His pure-hearted dependence and surrender to Krishna's devotees. Of Krishna's devotees. This is what it means. You must have full faith that Krishna will protect me. I'm depending on you, Krishna. Please protect me. So Krishna naturally will protect because he is compassionate. So we move on to our next, the seventh theme, which talks about Krishna's compassion and decision. So then Krishna now understood that Indra's rage, or it was caused because they stopped that sacrifice. So, it was not the season where you would have such storm. So Krishna recognized this is Indra's pride. And then Krishna resolved to teach Indra a lesson of humility. And then he reminded him that all devatas are under the supreme rule, which he said before, earlier on. He vowed to protect the residents. So what did he do? What did he do? Then he
covered the village with the mountain and fitted up with his small finger.
Yeah. So there was so much of chastisement for Indra, but this is actually his mercy to purify him of that pride. So now Krishna, the 8th section, we are lifting Govardhan Hill. So Krishna is lifting Govardhan Hill very effortlessly. There's a small boy with one hand, like a little child picking up a mushroom. And he invited all the villagers, everybody, to come under this umbrella, like the hill. And just Krishna is holding it like that, and with just one finger. So all the residents and the animals, they entered beneath the hill. And they became very safe and peaceful. And then they were very happy. The devotees, the animals, the cows, they became very affectionate. The Lord's affection, and they also were very affectionate towards the Lord. Then we move on to our next theme, the 9th theme, where he talks about protection and devotees' astonishment. Now for 7 days, the residents stayed beneath that hill. There was no hunger, there was no thirst, there was no discomfort. And everyone just marveled at Krishna's strength, holding Govardhan Hill with his little finger in his left hand. So Indra, he got astonished. He was astonished and he humbled. And he called off the clouds and storms because nothing is happening now. Everybody is protected. The rain stopped, the sky is clear, and sunlight returned, marking the end of Indra's pride. Then, restoration and celebration. Now is time to celebrate. So Krishna gently replaced Govardhan Hill in his original place. He put it down. So the villagers, they returned home with their animals and other possessions. And out of deep love, they were embracing Krishna and blessed him repeatedly. He's a young boy. They don't know he's Bhagavan. They think he's just a young boy. He just picked up the hill. That's all. They don't know that he's God. He's just their friend. And then the gopis, the cowherd girls, they offered Krishna yogurt mixed with tears of devotion. That's how it's described. Very beautiful. And then the devatas, they shower flowers. From the heavenly planets, they are showering flowers, blowing the conch shells, the sun, and they're singing praise for Krishna. So this is the celebration they're having. And they have like tamburas, the gandharvas, like heavenly planets, the musicians, they're very good. And they're all enjoying themselves so much, and thanking Krishna so much that they are now happy that they're safe. But they don't know Krishna is God. Because if they know that Krishna is God, then the relationship breaks. You get it? Because they just think he's his friend. So they can have that relationship or friendship, But as soon as they know he's God, then you become the servant. So the relationship breaks. So these devotees, then they glorify, they return home, and the gopis sang of his divine deeds from the core of their hearts. And then Krishna became, as Govardhan Dhari, the lifter of Govardhan Hill and the ultimate protector of his devotees. Now that's the 25th chapter. The 26th chapter describes in the Krishna book how wonderful Krishna is. But the 27th chapter, which we're going to talk about and complete this Lila, was now the prayers of Indra, the king of heaven. Because now his pride is smashed. And the first we're going to discuss, the first theme, is Indra's repentance and humility. So after Krishna lifted Govardhan Hill, he saved the residents of Vrindavan, and Indra, then he realized, I have committed a great offense. Now, when you commit an offense, now what do you need to do? Apologize. You need to apologize. So, Indra, he took a Surabhi cow to Krishna. Indra, and he appeared with a Surabhi cow. Now, a Surabhi cow is from Goloka Vrindavan. But in the heavenly planets, there is a Surabhi cow. So he took the Surabhi cow and went. So Indra, he approached very cautiously, ashamed, fearful, and he fell at Krishna's lotus feet. Because he's got a big crown, and a person with a big crown would not like to bow down. You see? Despite his dazzling crown. But Indra knew that Krishna is his master, but he doubted that he's the Supreme Lord. Because he's such a simple person, he's just living with village people who are playing with cows and milking cows. It's so simple. And then he realized, Krishna's unlimited power. And then Indra now offers his heartfelt prayers in submission to Lord Krishna. And the second theme on this 27th chapter is Indra's realization of Krishna's transcendence, meaning having realization that Krishna is supreme and is transcendental. And now Indra is now revealing his heart that his false prestige made him misjudge Krishna's action for stopping that sacrifice. Because Indra was thinking that Krishna has stolen his share of sacrifice by introducing the Govardhan worship. Because we took the same paraphernalia and now worshipping Govardhan Hill. But now he realized that he glorified Krishna as the supreme person, beyond this world. Transcendent means beyond this material world. And even then he describes his nature as Visuddha Sattva. Visuddha Sattva means pure goodness, not touched by ignorance, not touched by passion. And again, then he talks about Krishna's forms, qualities, pastimes. They are all free from any material contamination. Because we read, so many in the Gita, when one understands Krishna's pastimes, then he can go back to him. Janma karma chame divyam evam yovedit tattvataha Chatvam denam punarjanma naiti mamiti suarjuna. So one who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activity, when does not take birth again in this material world. When he leaves his body, he goes back to Krishna. So Indra, he now recognized this, Krishna's position, and how Krishna's abode can be only accessed by those who free from material desires. So the next theme, Krishna's role as the Supreme Lord and Chastiser. That's the third theme on the 27th chapter. So Indra now is addressing Krishna as the original father. Krishna is the original father and the supreme spiritual master. And he's the proprietor of the universe, of everything. Krishna manifests time. And this way he chastises offenders and humbles the proud. So, now Indra has become very humble. But, chastising him is his mercy. So somebody is chastised by Krishna, is getting Krishna's mercy. He destroys your false pride. He restores knowledge of his supremacy. So when, like even Prabhupada sometimes would chastise his disciples, and sometimes they couldn't handle it. But that was his mercy to them. He was correcting them. He was correcting them. Like once one devotee, he was sannyasi now, Navayogendra Swami, and he would fight for Prabhupada because sometimes he brought the prasadam late, maybe a minute late, and because he came late, and Prabhupada would chastise him like anything. So then one day he told Prabhupada, we don't know what to do, you chastise us so much. What we must do? How should we feel? He said, you should feel very happy. You should feel very happy because somebody is caring for you. Get it? Chastising you. And the example of Anata and Sanata. Anata is with master. Sanata is with master, Anata is without master. So somebody who's got a master can be chastised. And he can, like you see dogs, when they have a master, they're very proud, their tail is curled, and they're very proud, they're moving around. And then sometimes you see a thin, scrawny looking dog with nobody, no owner, and it's suffering. See that, huh? That's how it is. So, yes. So it's his mercy. So Indra admitted that, he considered himself like falsely supreme, like the controller of the universe, because remember, he's like the king of heaven. And he's always making mistakes. He's always making mistakes. It's, if somebody constantly chastises you, what would you do? You'll carry on serving. Huh? You get upset, you say, hey, you know what, I have to go now. But when you tolerate those provoking circumstances, you become stronger as a devotee. That's how you become stronger. But Indra, you can see, is humbly admitting himself. And Krishna chastised him so that he could recognize him again as the Lord and not have that false pride. Then Prabhupada writes about in the Krishna book the purpose of the Lord's descent. That is our next theme. And Krishna appears in many eternal forms. Yada yada yadharmasya glani bhavati bharata. Glorify the earth and curb false claimants to divinity. So Krishna appears in so many different incarnations. As Parsuram, as Matsya, as Kurma, different incarnations, as Hamsa, so many different incarnations. And one must have an understanding of those different incarnations. And that's one of the things that is in the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 3, text 28. What's the verse? Aitakam Sachala Pumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. See? So, Krishna is that supreme personality. The scriptures say it, so many scriptures, the Bhagavad Gita, in the 10th chapter, how many 10th chapter? Yeah. So, Krishna is supreme. Paramdam, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavam. All the acharyas, they talk about Krishna's supremacy. And then people, they normally compete with his supremacy. See, like people, amongst people in this world, they want to be ahead of other people. Really, in the end, you will die, nobody cares for you. Nobody cares who you are. All the qualifications you have materially, in the end, you just have to burn it in the box. There will be nothing. You can't come in the next life and say, I got my qualification. I studied last life. No. You have to start again. So when Krishna chastised, then you come to your senses, like in the case of Indra. He came to his senses. Then when he came to his senses, the fifth theme is he's asking for forgiveness. Indra's prayer is for forgiveness. So he confessed that, oh yes, I'm a fool. Deluded by this opulence, because when you have opulence and you have money and you have a lot of wealth, then you become very proud. But a poor man, he's got nothing, he's suffering, and even if you don't have it, what can you do? He just tolerates it. He's in a better position. He's not offending nobody. So then he begs for Krishna's forgiveness. And this is a very, very important quality for forgiveness. That I acted foolishly. And then you pray for the Lord's blessing that I'll never do this again. Like I was in Nairobi recently for a couple of weeks, and I was addressing a group of students from the university, about 80 of them. And somehow, I was really teaching a seminar, but they wanted me to teach, for them to come for the seminar. I said, well, this is like too high philosophies and people won't understand. So, but they said, okay, maybe just do one verse from that book. And then I just read one verse. And it was talking about atonement and confession, and from Nectar of Instruction, the first verse, and forgiveness. And we got this whole discussion of anger and forgiveness. And it's quite amazing that people just start opening up their hearts and they're speaking and reveal themselves. It was an open discussion with 80 people. Girls, boys, they're all university Africans, all Africans. It was really beautiful to hear how they spoke from their heart, and they're asking for blessings and forgiving them for what they have done wrong. So there's so much to say about forgiveness. So then Indra finally, he fully surrenders to Krishna. And Krishna is the master, Vasudev's son, the master of the devotees and the supreme person. Then the sixth theme on the 27th chapter, then Indra's realizations of Krishna's mercy. So he realized that he did the wrong thing, destructive rains. Out of anger he did it, out of ignorance. But yet he saw that Krishna's punishment had purified him, purified his false pride, because now he recognized Krishna as the supreme person. You can see how Krishna used this whole Govardhan Lila to show the point that we first started discussing about what is pure devotion. And then and this prayer, Indra is giving, transformed from arrogance to surrender. He was arrogant and now he's surrendering. And then we move on to Krishna's response and divine instruction. So Krishna, he smiled compassionately at Indra, and he replied with a voice like rumbling clouds, that he stopped this Indra yagya. That was his causeless mercy to Indra, and to remind him that his position is subordinate, he is a servant of the Lord. This is what there's a lot of points, but we can't discuss all of them. Krishna warned him that if someone becomes overpowered by pride, then what he do? He withdraw that person's opulence. Why is he taking that opulence away? To make him humble. Why is he taking all those things away from him? You see, wealthy people become very poor like beggars. They become humbled. So many. So that is the special favor. Then the Lord's mercy in removing material opulence. Sometimes you see devotees lose their wealth, and then they lament. They think, what? But they were attached to it. So they lose it, but that is Krishna's mercy. But you won't see it like that, because you're attached to it. So Krishna, he intervenes and he tries to break that attachment. So that then they can fully depend on him. Otherwise they're depending on Standard Bank. You get it? And you get people like that. Like material poverty is not a curse, but a purification process that leads you to surrender to Krishna. So don't be disturbed. And then Krishna gives his final instruction to Indra. To return to the heavenly kingdom. And Indra now has gone back to the heavenly kingdom. And the cow, that Surabhi cow, from Goloka Vrindavan, he offers his obeisance to Krishna from Goloka and worship Krishna. Like that. And then there's many other things. But then, I'll just read it from here. She praised him as the most powerful mystic, the soul of the universe and the origin of all creation. Remember, these Surabhi cows, they are conscious, they can speak, they can do everything. And she recognized Krishna as the true Indra. Because Govinda, the Indra, Krishna is the real Indra. He is the supreme, protector of the cows, the Brahmins, the pure devotees. So, and she prayed, let us bathe you with our milk, for you are the real Indra. So the Surabhi cow then bathed Krishna with the milk and poured Ganges water from the trunk of his elephant Airavata. And this is the Abhishek of Govinda. So that, and then Indra departs to the heavenly planet again after offering his worship and receiving Krishna's forgiveness. Then he goes back to his heavenly post. So we can learn from this. We mustn't be envious of anybody because if we envious, we get purified in such a way that we will become very humble. So we don't, somebody is better than us, good luck. I don't lose anything. If somebody is better than me, what do I lose? I lose nothing. I'm just me. Is it okay? So we'll stop here. See, this is the glories of Govardhan Lila. I just paraphrased it. But the next time I come, or next time we discuss it, we'll discuss it from another angle. So I took 8 minutes more, but sorry about that.
No, it's fine.
And yes, so thank you very much. Hare Krishna. I will offer some lamps now, is it?